and hear me?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. I can see and hear you as well. My name is Emma, and I'll be your host for today's simulation. We have about 25 minutes together to complete a scenario and then reflect on your experience. Were you able to review the details of your scenario, and do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I reviewed the scenario and I do not have any questions.
All right, wonderful. So before you jump in, let's take a moment and review your scenario goal. In this simulation, you are the teacher of a seventh grade language arts class, and the students have just finished reading Little Women. So your goal here is to identify and navigate any conflicts that arise as you observe this student led discussion and then to motivate the class to re-engage with one another. So with that in mind, what are some challenges you think the students will face in having an independent discussion like this?
One of the main things I think they will struggle with is probably getting off task or arguing with one another.
Hmm. Okay. And how do you plan to respond if that happens during today's conversation?
So I will politely say, all right, let's not be mean to one another. We know the rules, we have discussed them, and we all agree to them. If you want to talk, please don't talk over someone and please don't be mean.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of reminding them of some of those classroom expectations, kind of taking them to that, um, kind of using that as a guideline for the parameters of the discussion. All right. Well, a few things to note before you get started. If you need to pause for any reason, you can say pause simulation. I'll be happy to assist. Also, quick reminder about the students. If they're ever asked to do something that is beyond the capabilities of our program, things like clapping, giving a thumbs up, or speaking simultaneously, you'll hear one of them say, the principal says, we can't do that. That will be your cue to move on and to try a different tactic. Any questions about that?
No.
All right. Great. Also, there is a self-view camera. You don't have to have it on, but that is located to the right-hand side of your screen. It looks like a screen with the outline of a person. For your lesson today, your students all have name cards in front of them. From left to right, you will see Savannah, Dev, Ava, Jasmine, and then Ethan. Your lesson today can take up to 15 minutes, and then I will come back and reflect with you about the experience. If you feel like you've completed the lesson before then, you are welcome to excuse the class to recess. Do you have any final questions before you get started?
No.
All right, and how would you prefer your students address you today?
Miss Emery.
Miss Emery. All right, great. Well, when you see your students on screen, you can begin your lesson. Good luck, and I will see you soon.
Good morning, class.
Oh, hey, what's up, Miss Emery? I like those glasses.
Thank you. So, have you all finished reading the novel?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah. Yes.
so one
Yeah.
question I want to ask is who is your favorite character and why?
Oh, cool. So, you want us to just like start? We could talk about like what we liked about the character and like,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, I can do that. Well, I mean, I can start, I guess. I think that Joe is a natural leader. Um, kind of like myself, and maybe that's why I liked her the best. Yeah, and she's humble, just like you, huh, Ava? Oh, shut up, Ethan.
All right, let's not
Well,
be rude. If you want to say a nicer way to be quiet or not to say something, please just say, "Can you not say that?"
um, well, I mean, I like Meg. I think that Meg was kind of like sort of well, she was the calm one of the sisters, and I feel like she kind of like balanced out Joe's wild side. Yes, I agree with that, Jasmine. Meg showed what people expected from girls back then. Yeah, yeah, and she grows, but it's like within the rules, like the old school rules. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Meg was like kind of old fashioned. She was just always like trying to be perfect. That's like so ill. Hmm. Yeah, I could see that too. Savannah, you're like so quiet today. Um, oh, well, I, uh, I think Beth is really nice. And what else? Um, I don't know. She just seemed like she seemed really nice. hmm But like, are you sure you read the book? Because like, it doesn't sound like you did. God, Abel, let her talk. Savannah, Beth was your favorite, right? Is that what you're saying? Um, yeah, I guess. You know, I actually think that Beth's character was actually interesting. She's quiet, but she's also strong in her own way.
Yes, she is, and I
Yeah.
like that.
Mm, But like Savannah, did you find anything cool about Beth? Um, she's she's strong. Okay, that's literally what Dev just said. Oh, maybe she just um like read the short version online or something. I read the whole book. I just don't talk as much as everybody else.
All right, everybody. Let's calm down. Let's not be rude. It's okay if she doesn't want to talk that much. Um, so my next question for you all, as you have read the novel, is how do each of the sisters contribute to the plot?
Um I just have a question.
Okay,
Um
what's your
like
question?
what if someone is unprepared? Like I don't really think it's fair to the rest of us if we have to discuss a book with someone who like didn't even read it.
Well, I can understand how that can be frustrating, but at the same time, let's not be rude to one another about being unprepared. It's okay. Sometimes people get caught off track and it is hard to finish a book that long, but I can understand your frustration, but we all agreed to be kind to one another, so let's keep our discussion about the novel respectful to Savannah and everyone else.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's like really hard, when people are like different from each other to just like for them to be okay with that.
Yes, and that's actually how I see the characters in the book as well.
Mm, yeah, I get that. I mean, like, you know, Amy and Joe, like they fight a lot, but like, by the end they're pretty chill.
Mhm. Does anyone have any questions about the book?
Not really. It was good.
All right. So, my next question is how which character do you relate to the most?
Hmm. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if there's one that I necessarily relate to the most. I kind of liked all of them. Well, not Aunt March. She was a little bit mean.
Okay. Jasmine, what about you? Was there a character that you related to the most?
Um, well, I mean, I liked a lot of the characters too. Um, I mean, I guess it must have been really hard for Meg. You know, she was the oldest, and she had to be like responsible and everything. So, um, I I liked her. Um, and I felt bad for the mom. Like it must have been hard for her, but like I thought that she did a really good job at letting her daughters do like what was in their hearts.
Yes.
Hmm.
All right. So, my next question for you all to discuss with one another is how do the conflicts that the sisters went through help them grow as a person?
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't think of that. Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm not really sure.
Okay, let me break it down in a smaller question. Do you think that what the sisters went through helped them become better people, or did it make them become worse people?
Um, I mean, I I I would think it made them better people. Yeah. I mean, you don't want a character to get worse by the end of the book, so like probably better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean like I said, like they're all chill by the end, you know. I think like that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So there was tons of character development, as you can see. So another question for you all to discuss is did you have a favorite part of the novel that went along with one of the characters?
I don't know. I mean, I like Lori. I thought he was funny, but like I don't know if I had one favorite part. I just liked his vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Do the sisters become closer as the story progresses, or do they drift apart in their own direction?
Mm, I think like a little bit of both, maybe.
Why is that?
Well, because I think they like, you know, they like they love each other and they value their family, but they each like have their own like things that they want to do.
Okay. What about you, Ava? What do you think?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I just really thought Joe was a great you know, a great character. Um, so yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, I'm going to let you all discuss what you learned from the book, and I'm going to sit here and answer questions if you have any.
All right, Autumn, welcome back. Congratulations on completing your simulation. Overall, how do you feel that lesson went?
It went okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's dig a little deeper here. This was an opportunity for you to practice identifying and managing conflicts between your students and then motivating them to re engage with the activity and with each other. I've seen teachers come into lessons like these and have a little bit of difficulty. Sometimes they miss the chance to connect or to build rapport with their students, or they will single out or reprimand a student in front of the others. I've also seen teachers who neglect to emphasize that all perspectives hold value. Did you find yourself experiencing any of those typical challenges?
No, I more so did it as a group rather than singling them out because singling someone out can oftentimes escalate the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to, reprimand someone in front of the class and then have that student, um, you know, kind of exacerbate the problem, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I completely understand that rationale. I've also seen teachers effectively navigate lessons like these by making sure every student feels safe and respected, using the SOAR model, and taking time to observe and assess before reacting, and by providing students with effective strategies for collaboration and future conflict resolution. Did you find yourself using any of those techniques?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, I want to point out a strength that I observed in your lesson today. You explain the activity to the students, and then you allowed them time to take ownership of their small group discussion. I could see you kind of, and that can be really difficult, right? For a teacher, we're so used to this structure, the traditional sort of lecture style lesson. Um, but you allowed the students time to interact with one another, and have that conversation. Why do you think it's important, especially for students this age, to practice those types of interpersonal conversations?
It is important for them to experience that social connection so they don't feel that
Mm.
they're in a classroom full of strangers, and that when it comes to group discussions, they can learn how to do that in the real world by communicating with their peers and having a respectful conversation with one another while still valuing their opinions, even if their opinions differ from theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole social emotional component of learning that comes, in the classroom, and these students are building those skills right now, right?
Yes.
So you want them to kind of practice. They're not quite adults, so they need to practice having these types of discussions, and by allowing students the ability to take ownership of discussions, you're empowering them, and fostering their independence and accountability. And that type of approach helps to boost their confidence, enhance their collaborative skills, build trust, and promote critical thinking, which can ultimately lead to deeper, more personal engagement with the material. Now, since even the strongest teachers can always improve, I'd like to
Yes.
highlight an area of opportunity for you to consider as you think about future development. As you were helping to manage the conflict, you may have had more of an opportunity to ensure that no student felt singled out or reprimanded. Now, what I mean by that, I know you talked about not wanting to reprimand, and I saw that in practice, right? You didn't, Ava was clearly the instigator in the situation, and I noticed that you made an effort to not single her out. But as the conversation progressed, some of the other students were, um, you know, uh, back to engaging after the conflict. But I noticed Savannah was still kind of shut down and quiet. How do
Yes.
you think you could have incorporated her? And first of all, I mean, how do you think she was feeling in that
I'm sure she
moment?
was upset or
Hmm.
a little discouraged.
Yeah. How do you think you might have, tried to incorporate her again with the mindset of not wanting to necessarily uh, shine a spotlight on her, but how do you think you could have incorporated her into the conversation a little bit more to make her feel um, more welcome?
I could have better addressed everyone or called on her to answer one of the questions I was asking to give her
Mhm.
not all the attention on her, but a chance to speak
Yeah.
about what she read.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Kind of welcoming her again, it's so often we think about singling out a student for something negative, but sometimes, we can inadvertently be singling a student out when they haven't done anything wrong. So, in that case, Savannah, seemed a little left out, and maybe there was a way to kind of, let her know that this is a safe space, and that she is a valuable part of the conversation. And when you navigate through conflicts without singling students out, it maintains their dignity and it promotes trust in the classroom. And that just ensures that all students feel safe and supported. It encourages open participating our participation, excuse me, and it helps in reducing anxiety, and that creates a more inclusive and effective learning environment. Well, Autumn, thank you so much for practicing these skills with us. Before we go, what is something you'll take away from this experience that you might use the next time you're in a situation like this in your classroom?
One thing I will definitely take away from this is how to better include students after the conflict and make sure that everyone feels welcome, even if another student is instigating an incident with said student.
Hmm. Yeah, really, kind of making sure that all of the students are sort of re-engaged after the conflict, and feel welcome and that sense of psychological safety. Well, Autumn, thank you so much. I really appreciate our time together today. We hope to see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Take